Welcome at Finishing the Race Strong, and I'm so excited. This is Jooste van Dam, and for today, for the very first live in November, I have an exciting guest with us here today, and her name is Ronel Jooste. Thanks so much for joining us here today, Ronel. I want to just quickly do a bit of an intro on you, and I know a lot of people really know you because you're such an award-winning serial entrepreneur that I would just really like to position you so people really understand your expertise as well. Ronel Jooste is a multi-award winning entrepreneur who started the FinanciallyFit Group, specializing in really financial consulting and training. She's the author of the award-winning book, Financially Fit and Wealthy, and I was actually speed reading through this again last night, Ronel, and realizing I need to spend a bit more time with it, a guide to personal financial success. She's passionate about financial education and is using her extensive knowledge as a chartered accountant with more than a decade of experience in the corporate financial services industry to help individuals to create financial security and a better understanding of their finances. She is also the co-owner of FhysEQFiT Guesthouse in Centurion and FhysEQFiT Wellness and Lifestyle. She's a fitness fanatic and a qualified personal trainer, and her motto in life is to live a healthy, active, happy, financially fit life, and she inspires others to have that too. So I met Ronel last year, I think it was February, Ronel, when you had your book. You didn't have your official book launch yet, but you were doing the signing of your book, and you were talking to so many entrepreneurs about, taxes and how we should be saving money for tax in our business. And afterwards, I immediately went over and grabbed a book and handed over my credit card. So happy to have you here, Ronel. Did you always know that you would want to write a book?
Yoko, thank you so much for having me. I'm looking forward to this discussion. Yes, I think even when I was little, I always used to, like write little stories. It was back then, it was more, I would say, love stories. So at that point, it wasn't kind of like an educational type of book. But yeah, I think I enjoyed writing from when I was little. And then I think it just evolved over the years. And I think, and that is what we're going to touch on today as well. You always have that kind of dream in your mind, but if you're not going to take action and really, set goals and kind of try to achieve that, that will only remain a dream. So I think that was something that at some point I just realized I have to do it now. And that's when I started writing it, and I've published it, beginning of last year, 2019.
That's really incredible, and I know that it's won so many prizes as well, but for today, I really want to go behind the scenes, so thanks for going there already, because there's so many people that sit with ideas and they'll talk to the entire world and say, I'm going to write 3 books and I'm going to make movies, and then it just sticks with the conversation. And I spoke to you about this the other day. Many years ago, I actually went on a time management 2-day course, and the trainer at that time said, she said, psychologically, sometimes when you just talk about something and you share your dream with everyone, you could get a kick of dopamine, and it's almost like you're getting the same feeling in your body as if you've written the book, and then it could like trip you over. But for you, you said that doesn't necessarily happen like that. So how did the book happen for you? What motivated you, and what was your strategies to go like, this is major mountain I need to climb? How am I going to start doing it?
No, I think so. Sometimes it's different things that triggers you to actually put something into action. Like I said, I basically had, because I do a lot of workshops and write a lot of blogs and articles for publications, I had the majority of the content already, and I had a lot of it kind of planned in my head. I just never took the time out to go sit down and actually write the book. And what actually happened one day, I was in a meeting with Wouter Snyman. So he's a very big name in the financial industry. And at that time, both myself and Wouter were writing the monthly articles for Finesse magazine. And he asked me, so when are you publishing your book? And I said, well, I haven't started writing it yet. And then at the end of the meeting, when I wanted to leave, then he gave me like 4 or 5 of his books that I could take home. And I think that kind of just, it just sparkled something inside of me. And then it was one of those things of, if Wouter Snyman can do this, I can do this too. And I think that evening I went back home and I took my laptop out and I started writing. And yeah, then it was literally just kind of like in putting all my ideas and the principles and everything onto paper. And about 6 months or 6 weeks later, I finished writing it. But yeah, then again, sometimes life happens, and then I actually only published it a year later after I finished writing it.
So would you say it was literally like, there's this joke, they call it ABC, attach but to chair. You need to go and sit down and do the work, which is almost like with your studies as well, hey? If you didn't do the work for your CA, you would not have accomplished what you did.
Yeah, I think that is totally, that's the kind of the most important point for you to really succeed in anything in life, whether it is fitness, whether it is losing weight, want to, follow a career, get some degree or qualification, even making some progress as a business owner, or whatever that kind of goal might be. It's all about, sitting down and actually doing it. If you are not going to take action and take that first step to move towards that goal, yeah, you will just never achieve that.
What I particularly loved last night, I was seeing it again as I was speed reading the book, and I was loving the metaphor that you have around fitness, and then related to finances. And you were specifically speaking about savings, so cutting some of your expenses, but then eventually getting into investments. And you were talking about property and various ways, the pros and cons of different types of investments. And I love the metaphor there where you were saying originally you try to, with fitness, try to reduce the fat ratio in your body, and then eventually it's about building the muscle. Do you want to speak a bit more about that regarding to goal setting? Where does the muscle building start to come in whatever areas of life?
Yeah, so I think that what I'm trying to say in the book is almost saying that first you need to cut out the fat when you want to, like achieve a certain fitness goal or a weight loss goal. And in finance, you relate that to you first want to become debt free. You want to repay the majority of your debts, and then you want to stop, because that puts you in a very good position then to, in a fitness space, to add muscle, or in a financial space to basically like start your investing journey. And I think if you think about goal setting, that is also, very similar, that you cannot kind of sometimes switch the things around, because then you are going to, like not achieve the results, or you might not achieve those results successfully or as fast as you could. So that is why it's all about, like in following a process. And I think sometimes you follow a process and then at some point you realize, okay, this doesn't work. I now need to basically sit down, reflect, refocus, realign, and then start again. And that is all part of, like in achieving a goal, because that is sometimes what happens to all of us, whether it's in our careers, in business, in our fitness journeys. So that is important, that you follow a process to get to where you want to be.
I wanted to speak to you a little bit about your guest house, because you've been running it for many years now, and you originally bought it together with your sister, and you guys built it up from scratch with zero experience in the guest housing industry, I would say. Since you also do financial consulting for businesses, what are some of the goals that you would say that a small business owner and a medium-sized business owner need to set for themselves from the start?
Well, I think with us, like what we I mean, we had a bigger dream of like one day we want to own like a game lodge with a wellness retreat. And I think even though buying the guest house, that wasn't the intention, but for us, like it was more kind of to create more space to have our offices and our like a little fitness center and all of that. But it is kind of like in a step towards achieving that bigger goal. But I think what we basically, why we did it, or what was some of the things that motivate us, was to first of all, that was something in a different industry, because I'm in the financial world. My sister is a psychologist. So it was kind of diversifying our risk, you know, adding kind of something from a separate kind of industry. And then it was also about creating multiple income streams. So this is something that I'm very passionate about, and that I teach all my people when they come to me for coaching or in my workshops, is to have multiple income streams. And for us, that was kind of like in some of the main factors. And I think like now, during the lockdown period, that became so valuable. And I think kind of it proved that what we wanted to achieve, that was actually the right way of going about it. Because now, like when the hospitality industry was heavily affected and the guest house income was heavily affected, we had different income streams that we could rely on. And that is something that I always say to people, do kind of like add those additional income streams. But I think also from an entrepreneur point of view, something that we also said with the guest house is that that can help us to add to our retirement portfolio, because that can one day, when we want to retire as business owners, the guest house can still continue, because it can run independently from us. It is not something that you know, we need to spend our time in there 24/7 to earn an income. And I think that is one of the traps that a lot of entrepreneurs fall into. They kind of like you know, they need to work 24/7 to be able to earn an income. And if you are in that situation, it will make it very difficult for you going forward, you know, to grow and to scale. And also one day when you want to retire, because if you want to move away from that business and you have not a sustainable way for it to carry on and still provide you with an income, it will be very difficult. So that is definitely something that I will encourage all kind of business owners to do, is to make sure that they have sufficient retirement savings, and that they plan for it even when they are still at a young age.
How important is it for you to get your staff on board with your dream and the goals? Because what was the most beautiful story for me last year at your official book launch was when you were talking about how things transitioned, also when you moved to Cape Town, and how your staff are now totally stepped into management positions, and you don't need to be there all the time. So did they also get on board with your goals and your dream and make it their own?
I think that is the most important thing that any business owner can do. Like if you have employees, staff, that you get them to buy into your bigger vision, that they understand their role kind of in the bigger picture in business, that they start understanding business, you know, that they know, but if I'm not cleaning the room, then it impacts on the business. The guest is not going to come again. If the guest is not coming, the guest house is not receiving an income. If we have guests who come over and over, we receive more and more income. The more income we have, then it impacts on all of us in a positive way, because we get bigger increases, bigger bonuses. It creates a better lifestyle for everybody. So I think that is something that we really sat down and, you know, we involved them a lot in a lot of the things in at the guest house, you know, and we also ask them kind of what's their dreams and aspirations. And they want to, you know, Eva wanted to cook and Joyce wanted to get into office administration. So we spend a lot of time with them to, you know, teach them computers and all of these skills, because then that kind of makes them feel, you know, more important, as if they are also achieving their goals and dreams in life. And the minute you start getting that, your engagement and your loyalty within your business just goes through the roof. And I think now, you know, like when I was in Cape Town for 1 year, Joyce and Eva pretty much managed the guest house themselves together with my sister. My sister and myself, we were on holiday now for 2 weeks. They managed the guest house all by themselves, you know, literally did everything in terms of checking in, checking out, you know, running the breakfasts, all of that. And I think that is so critical for any business, to make your staff part of your bigger dream.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I found an amazing aha moment when I was attending your financial management course, and I must just bring it up again. Because being in training, very often the result is very qualitative and not so much measurable, you know, that you can't always see the physical results financially, but you can pick it up in morale that's changing in the office, or like you're saying, employee engagement and things like that. And I remember in the course that you mentioned that you were analyzing some of the stats of the guest house, and then you picked up that something had shifted in terms of the customer service at the guest house. Do you just want to share about that?
Yes, I think that is also something, and that comes back to, you know, like business owners should really, you know, analyze and interpret their financial results. And that goes beyond just looking at your profit and your sales figures and your income statement and your balance sheet. You know, it's all about those other kind of ratios and other important relationships within your business that you need to look after as well. So when I went to Cape Town, and like I said, my sister and Joyce and Eva were managing the guest house, then after a couple of months, we could see that there was an increase in our recurring business. So I measure kind of on a monthly basis all our guests, how many of them are coming kind of through booking sites, coming through our website, coming, or like in recurring guests. So I measure all of those kind of things. And then we realized that because we obviously want to get the recurring business to increase, because then your profit margin increases, because you don't pay any commission, you don't pay any marketing towards those guests, so you get much more profit. And then we see, okay, but the guests are coming more and more, you know, they keep on returning. And when I asked my sister about, or I mentioned it to her, then she said, but in her industry, that is actually one of her strengths. You know, she is very good with retaining relationships and managing a relationship. And I mean, if you just think of her experience in terms of being in the psychology and more in the emotional wellness space, it absolutely makes sense. And then we realized, but we need to, you know, put her in that position where she's more responsible for, you know, checking in the guests and start having that relationship with them, because just because of her kind of background, they immediately relate with that in a different way than what they would relate to the rest of us who are not in that kind of space. And so that just helped us. And I think that really boiled back to kind of looking at the financial results and interpreting it, understanding it, and then making the most of it, because now, you know, it really helps us a lot in our business.
Brilliant, brilliant. It seems that the streaming didn't fully work, Ronel, so we'll have to post this just afterwards, just like giving you the heads up. I wasn't aware. But anyhow, I just wanted to ask you, what are some of your core tips for goal setting? If an individual has to set goals for themselves, would you say they only need to do it on New Year's Eve, or like, how do you go about setting goals for yourself?
No, I truly think goal setting is basically part of my daily lifestyle. You know, like if you cannot really achieve anything in life if you are not kind of going through a goal setting process. And sometimes it's not necessarily kind of an intentional process where you know, literally do kind of a project plan and all of that. So it doesn't have to be that intense, but it is about, you know, like in having those kind of building blocks in place. And what I always say, that it starts off with kind of a bigger dream or a why, or something bigger that you want to achieve. And when I'm saying achieve, then I don't refer to you want to win something, or you want to be successful at something or whatever. I don't refer to that. You know, it could be something like, I want to, you know, create a better lifestyle for my children. I want to be able to send my children to university one day and being able to afford it. I want to lose weight. I want to go to Disney World next year for holiday, or something like that. Whatever your kind of like in bigger dream is, and that kind of, you need to know like in why you want to do it, because the minute you have that why, and that why is becoming more important than the obstacles that you will face in your route to get there, then it's becoming much easier to overcome those challenges. So once you have that, then it's all about going back and say, okay, now I want to set a proper goal. Because sometimes people say just to me in my financial workshops, yeah, but I want to be rich, or I want to be financially free. But what does rich, or what does financially free mean to you? It's also not about saying, I want to lose weight, you know, like in how much weight do you want to lose? You know, it's more kind of like in having those goals that's specific. You know, it's not only about I want to go on holiday. It's kind of, where do you want to go? When do you want to go? All those kind of specific. And that's where the SMART goals comes in, where you really need to be specific about exactly what you want to achieve. It has to be measurable, so that you can, you know, like set some milestones along the way and see, okay, I am on track, I'm going somewhere. It needs to be achievable it needs to be relevant. I think like in relevant is also because sometimes people set goals because the neighbor is buying a new car. Now they also want to buy a new car, but it's not really something that you want or something that you need. And then in terms of timing, you know, it's important that you have like in certain time periods attached to it to say, by this stage, I want to achieve this. By this stage, I want to achieve something else. And then it's all about, once you have that goal, you need to understand where you are currently. And there I always use the example of, you know, if you want to drive somewhere and you want to use your GPS, you want to know kind of what your destination is, and then you want to know what your current location is. So you want to know where you're heading to, and then it's also important to understand where you are currently. Where are you in terms of your financial position, or where are you in terms of your business or your fitness or whatever, so that you know. But for me to get from here where I am to where I want to be, I can put this kind of plan in place to get me from where I am to where I want to be. And then it's all about like putting the plan in place, and then it's about taking action, the most important step of everything. Because if you are having all of these things, but you are not taking that action step and then being like inconsistent and, you know, really work towards achieving that goal, again, you are not going to achieve it. So I think that that is just in a nutshell, kind of like in the process that you can follow for absolutely everything. And I think then even going back to my corporate career, you know, that was exactly how we would have done a year-end financial results process, you know, like, and we literally knew kind of where we're heading to, and then we set it up kind of in small milestones or small steps to be able to get us there. And I think that is something that I still apply in my daily life, in my business, in my fitness goals on a daily basis. You know, I have kind of set tasks, like a little to-do list for every day, so that I know kind of I need to do this and this and this today and this tomorrow, because then by the end of the week I would have achieved this, by the end of next week I would have achieved this. And then based on when you want to achieve your bigger goal, then you can basically work backwards and know kind of what you need to do in small steps to get to your bigger goal.
That's amazing. So you are literally planning actually on a daily basis and taking action, and eventually it all accumulates to actually become quite a big thing. But if you don't actually do those things on a daily basis, then you're not actually getting anywhere. And I love the GPS analogy because it also helps you so you don't get lost. You know, you're focusing on the end destination. You're not just like missioning everywhere and going down various rabbit holes.
Yeah, and I think it's also about sometimes you know you need to be able to measure the impact of everything if you are not achieving this, because sometimes we get to spend, or we spend so much time on something that is actually kind of a bit irrelevant, or and then you kind of lose track of the bigger goal, and then it can impact on you kind of not achieving that goal within the time frame that you've set for yourself, because you are spending too much time on something that is not that important.
And should the person also sometimes be able to realize if they got sidetracked, to just like continue again, like kind of like regroup, because life happens, you know, everyone's not going to sit down in 6 weeks, have the book written down like you. They might get sidetracked, but if they've already written 8 of the 10 chapters, it's not necessary to give up, you know, if they got sidetracked.
No, absolutely. And like I said, even myself, you know, I sometimes get sidetracked because I've written the book and then I didn't do the final step of publishing it, because then a lot of things happened. So that will definitely, that will happen, you know, like even if you want to get a certain fitness or weight loss goal, it could be that you are 4 weeks down the line and now you have an injury and you cannot train for 3 weeks or whatever. So those things will happen. And I think you also need to make provision and make sure that those things are going to happen, and how are you going to react to it. And then, but it's more kind of, you know, have that kind of mindset of whenever I get distracted, that I am able to kind of like get back onto track and kind of like finish the race.
Brilliant, brilliant. So thank you so much for being here today. We will be posting this on various platforms. I just wanted to know if people wanted to get into contact with you. You said that we are able to share some of your free resources. Do you just want to talk about that? And what exciting things is happening with you at the moment that people could engage with you? Where can they buy your courses? What can they do with you? How can you help them progress with their financial goals and their business?
Yeah, I'm going to give you a link that you can share with the people. That is to download my financial goal setting workbook for free.
Amazing.
So they can literally just go. It's just kind of a short way that they can work, and it gives them kind of step-by-step direction how they can achieve any kind of financial goal specifically in their life. So they can download that. Then they can also get my book. You've shown it at the beginning, Financially Fit and Wealthy. You can also share that link. It is on my website, roneljooste.com. Now that the book also talks a lot about financial goal setting specifically, and then kind of the whole process that you should really follow to become financially fit in your personal life. And then they can also have a look at my master classes. It's on my website, financiallyfitlife.co.za, but we can also share the link, because in my master classes, both personal and finance and business finances, I also touch on goal setting, kind of like in how you can achieve certain things in life by following a certain process to achieve that. But yes, they can also have a look at my YouTube channel, Ronel Jooste Financially Fit Life. I share a lot of free financial information there. And yeah, then on my websites, roneljooste.com or financiallyfitlife.co.za, people are welcome to email me if they have any questions or something that I can help them with.
Brilliant, brilliant. So we will definitely be sharing all of those links, and thank you so much for being such an inspirational entrepreneur and taking us behind the scenes on how things are working for you specifically.